The SABC Bill can provide a lifeline for the public broadcaster as it aims to reform the funding model of the corporation. Currently, only 3% of the SABC's budget comes from government grants, and there are calls for these grants to be increased to cover the costly public mandate.
The government currently funds about 3% of the SABC's budget, and that's way too little. That percentage needs to increase drastically for the SABC to be able to, to survive, because 2 billion goes to the public mandate. That's the mandate that government should actually be funding, because it fulfills, the nation building role of the SABC.
The SABC Bill also deals with the TV licensing system. 87% of TV owners do not pay for their TV licenses. In the last financial year, the corporation was only able to collect 741 million of the 4.6 billion rand billed for TV licenses, and the backlog is growing.
44 billion has actually been lost in TV licenses because people don't want to pay. So now there has to be a new model that actually gets and enforces people to pay for this public service, just as they are for other public services that they receive, such as water and electricity.
The SABC acknowledges in its annual report that it is commercially insolvent, meaning it's unable to pay its debts when they are due. It also says the liquidity and solvency risk has escalated to breaking point. Last month, the SABC board said the SABC bill must be passed or the public broadcaster will need another bailout.
If that bill doesn't get processed on time, we may find ourselves in a situation where the discussion around a bailout is inevitable. So I think it's important to make that particular fact, because so long as the funding model question is not resolved, and where we're seated, the SABC bill is the immediate, avenue to address that funding model question, the bailout conversation may become necessary and urgent.
It's not only about the problems that the SABC is experiencing, the proposals about the funding model for the SABC to also feature in this, but as well as members are interested in the report on the bailout. And I think the bailout is not looked only from a point of rands and cents spent, but it is how that would have helped the SABC on those areas that they said, if these areas are addressed, this is how the institution will turn around.
Perhaps the most telling anecdote about the financial state of affairs is the latest announcement that the SABC cannot afford to buy broadcast sporting rights for the 2023 Cricket World Cup. And if the situation persists, this could also affect the coverage of next year's general elections. Ulelani Philip, SABC News, Parliament.